Warmest greetings to you, dear viewers. You are watching OBN Horn of Africa. This is our weekly program, Future Africa, and I'm Phantom Belete hosting this program. Today, I have a guest with me here, Dr. Geremew Huluka, President of Oromia University. In this edition, we will be discussing the Prosperity Party, the ruling party in Ethiopia, and the Congress it has held recently. Doctor, thank you very much for your time and welcome to this program.
Thank you for having me.
To just begin with, would you tell us a bit about this Prosperity Party and this Congress, please, that it has held recently?
As we know, Prosperity Party is a very young party that is an outcome of the struggle of Ethiopian people for democracy, equity, and justice. It has a very short age, 5 years old, and the party is the single multinational party that focuses on balancing everything in Ethiopia, like, for example, balancing unity with diversity, balancing cooperation with competitiveness, balancing with individual right and group right, so that it fits to answer all Ethiopian people's question. So it's a very democratic and inclusive because all nations and the nationalities of Ethiopia has a stake, part and the parcel of this party, from membership to the top level leadership, like the former or other Ethiopian political parties. Of course, the majority of other Ethiopian political parties either focus on only nationality or ethnic based, or on in the name of single unity, ignoring others. But Prosperity Party is an inclusive that aspires to answer all questions of Ethiopian society. So again, it is quantitatively also a big party, having about 15.7 million members, covering all Ethiopian geographic locations, like from highland, lowland, and the middle. So that is a very big party.
In the second Congress, how did the party see its strengths? And in your view, how does the party's strengths impact the strengths of Ethiopia as a country?
From January 31st to February 2, the party has conducted this second very important Congress. Particularly, the commencement was very inspiring because not only the participants but also other invited guests from different countries, from Africa to Asia as well as Latin America, sister parties were delivering their message, in which they glorified about Ethiopia as a big nation, as well as the achievement of this party, and of course the hope which they saw in the objective of this party. And there, of course, in the 2 days Congress, the members, the participants of the Congress thoroughly discussed about the progress that achieved through the leadership of this party in economic, social, and political changes in Ethiopia. So there are so many strengths that the Congress identified, and these strengths should be considered to be continued. And also the Congress identified the challenges, the weaknesses, some of the challenging and the weaknesses of our leadership. Particularly, the challenges are about the lack of peace or conflict, which is challenging us. Again, some misbehaves, lack of good services, good governances, and some misbehaving of some leaders as well as members in delivering services. And of course, the other challenge is our country's poverty that we took from history. So these are solely discussed, and of course the party has put this resolution to renew its commitment to achieve Ethiopian prosperity and development.
Thank you very much, Doctor. How did the party evaluate itself in building strong and dependable institutions in the country, and how are the members contributing for this?
Ethiopia is a very old nation and a country, but lacked both institutional development as well as nation building, unfinished nation building, and of course far from institutional independence and strong institutional building. One of the objectives of Prosperity Party is to complete this nation building through building strong and independent, free and competent institutions. So this Congress has also reviewed the progress, of course the start the party has already begun to in this regard. Particularly, the party has reviewed in its success in terms of building justice sector institutions, law enforcement institutions, democratic enforcement institutions like Ethiopian Electoral Board, Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, and the judiciary part have done very important works. But in other parts, in other part of the sector, still we have to work a lot. Of course, the civil service reform has already begun, but still it is very infant. So the Congress already put this resolution to work on these issues again.
Prosperity Party aspires to create a strong and competitive economy in the near future and believes that will help it achieve its vision of creating a prosperous and resilient Ethiopia. How does the Congress that held recently evaluate its work on this area?
Ethiopia is a very poor country, but with abundance of natural resources as well as human resource. What Ethiopia lacked was stability, peace and stability. Of course, a political leadership that works equally for all Ethiopians. So to achieve economic development and prosperity, it's very important to work hard and have a very clear policy as well as a strategy. In the last 5 years, Prosperity Party has tried to have a very clear economic policy, like a homegrown policy, economic policy, as well as different strategies that everybody knows the party has already been doing on this issue. So the Congress has reviewed the achievement, like we are in the right track. We showed that we can change our economy and still but remain a lot. And therefore, like for example, if you consider some of the achievements in the last, particularly in the last 3 years, we can mention the first party Congress. Ethiopia achieved a lot of economic progress. It's a progressive development, by the way. So, like for example, in wheat production, the party was playing to export wheat, and of course it did. Again, the overall economic development of the country has increased in that. Ethiopia became nowadays fifth from African country and third from sub-Saharan countries, and first in terms of the economic development from East Africa. This is a great achievement. Again, the culture of work in our country has almost is in progressive change. But this does not mean that we achieved what we aspired. So the Congress has reviewed thoroughly the strengths, the achievements, and again the challenges and the weaknesses. Therefore, we have to continue the progresses, the achievements to achieve our objective, and we have to correct the mistakes, the errors, the weaknesses we shown in the last 3 years, and we have to work to at least alleviate the challenges.
Prosperity Party says it is committed to ensuring the overall well-being and dignity of its citizens. What beginnings do you see so far?
Yeah, the dignity of the citizen particularly refers to the social well-being of the citizens, like the educational development, the health well-being, as well as the social development of the citizen. It's not only the economic development, the social right of the, you see, the citizens do have a right to access to education, quality education, not only education by itself. The citizen has a right to have quality health services, and the citizen has the right to access to social services like housing, living in clean cities, greeneries. So when you evaluate the last 3 years in terms of this, Prosperity Party has begun a very important and new paradigm or new perspective in terms of all these issues. Like, for example, if you take in terms of education, based on the educational roadmap or educational reform, Prosperity Party revised educational perspective in this country, like focusing on quality, not only on quantity, but focusing on quality, one. Secondly, the primary and the pre-primary education has got focus during the Prosperity Party, not tertiary education. You see, unless otherwise you focused on the pre-primary education, you cannot have a qualified tertiary education. So it changes the perspective to pre-primary as well as primary and the general education in particular. In this regard, the party or the government or the ruling party has achieved very significant achievements in the last 3 to 4 years. If you take in terms of health again, there are different achievements like expansion of very qualified hospitals, particularly with the cooperation of private organizations as well as the government, what we call the 3Ps. So in terms of this, the health insurance that is very inclusive for the poor. Again, when you see the party itself is the people-centered, okay? So it's the issue of dignity. It's not working only for the elites or the economic elites. It's inclusive. It is people-centered for the poor, for the middle, and for the rich. That's the housing program of the party. Even the party president himself has a very important initiative. Everybody sees when he go to the poor mothers and try to change their residence. These issues are very important in terms of dignity. So the Congress played therefore to continue this one. Like, for example, in terms of city living, the quality of city, we see the corridor development in Addis that totally changing not only the dignity of the Addis Ababa residences, but also the dignity of all Ethiopian nations. How you will be amazed how the participants from different countries to the Congress were expressing their amazement how Addis changed in a very short period of time through their experience. So this is the dignity, what we call dignity. Therefore, the Congress has played again to continue all these activities in a very comprehensive way, but by correcting some maybe mistakes or errors during the implementations. So the issue of dignity is very important for Prosperity Party.
How do you see the efforts the party is exerting to strengthen national unity among Ethiopians? And what challenges do you see while striving towards achieving this?
The very core of uniqueness of this party is this one. In Ethiopia, there was, for a long period of time, dilemma whether Ethiopia is a unified country or not. And the different rulers were trying their best to maintain unity by ignoring diversity. Like, for example, the Emperor Haile Selassie was trying to maintain Ethiopia unity through assimilation by ignoring diversity. So diversity, in other words, in Ethiopia is a natural gift. You cannot avoid. It's a reality. So you have to think how to accommodate this diversity rather than how to abolish this diversity. You cannot abolish people's language, people's way of life, people's way of thinking. Rather, you have to think how to accommodate all this diversity. And of course, there are also other some political parties that struggle for liberation, quote unquote. So these two extreme ideas were competing in Ethiopia at least for the last 60 years when the modern politics began in Ethiopia. So what makes a Prosperity Party unique is trying to accommodate all these diversities, all these different extremities, the the unity issue, as well as the diversity. So the unity is very important because we are a great nation, as well as diversity is very important because we are diverse. We do have more than 80 ethnic groups in this country, not only ethnic groups but different religions and different thinkings and different perspectives. So what Prosperity Party trying to address is that how to accommodate all this, and of course how to implement actually the true federalism and as well as the democracy. Democratization process is very important again. So therefore, I think it's the core of this party to maintain unity through diversity. Unity through diversity, unity through inclusion, unity through participation of all citizens. Therefore, a lot of issues, a lot of activities were undertaken in the last 3 years, but still the Congress also pledged to continue this work comprehensively as well as thoroughly. This very important concept here.
Thank you very much, Doctor. What is the party doing to build a civil service that is free from corruption and malpractice?
One of the challenge that the Congress identified, the way we provide or deliver services to our citizens as a problem, particularly in relation with the corruption and lack of good governance. These were evaluated very seriously. And the party declared that unless otherwise we correct this malfunctioning and misbehaving of our civil servants as well as leaders, it's a failure. So, you see, of course, as everybody knows, Prosperity Party has been trying to implement the reform in all aspects, particularly in civil service. Reform is a very important part. And of course, the Parliament has already endorsed the policy change in civil service. And the type of civil service reform that Prosperity Party undertaking is that it's contextual. It's not one fit for all, because we do have different institutions, diversified institutions. So it has to be pragmatic in a sense that it has to be contextual, but the reform should be successful, productive. Therefore, it has to work on ethics and behavior of the workers, competence of the workers, and as well as the leadership, and it has to be supported by digitalization. So the Prosperity Party again expressed its commitment to correct all this behaving as well as lack of good governance in the coming few years.
How do you see the party's success in areas of foreign diplomacy, and what change of direction has made on foreign relations under the leadership of Prosperity Party?
The foreign policy, from this very beginning, the perspective that Prosperity Party has on its foreign policy is different from the past. In maybe you can take 2 to 3 important issues. The first one is Prosperity Party gives priority to the dignity of its citizen. Second, it gives priority to its neighbor country. Thirdly, of course, it gives attention to the benefit of the citizen or the country. In line with this, there are a lot of achievements in the 3 year. Like for example, we can mention how Ethiopia became member of BRICS. We know becoming member of BRICS means what for Ethiopia, what benefits are coming to Ethiopia. The other very important is that the quest for access to sea or access to port, it was not an agenda for Ethiopia for the last 30 years. Even Ethiopian rulers were shouting for not to speak about the importance of port for Ethiopians, but Ethiopian economy is boasting, and we are a very populous country. We are second to Nigeria, and therefore we cannot be continue to be landlocked country. So Prosperity Party took this courageous and expressed its interest for the international community that Ethiopia needs access to sea. And of course, we know different shootings and different conflict seems activities were there. But again, the way our diplomats, our prime minister has solved this issue, and the Ankara agreement underlined that Ethiopia should get access to sea. Now, these days, the international community recognizes that the fact that Ethiopia needs access to sea, but through dialogue and negotiation. Of course, from the very beginning, Prosperity Party did not mention that we have to have access to sea through war or power, but through negotiation. So this is a great political achievement, diplomatic achievement. Therefore, the diplomatic achievement that Prosperity Party has achieved for the last 4 to 3 years are reviewed like a very successful achievement, but it has to continue again to make it practical implementation. So the Congress also declares that the party will work on these issues strongly.
What is the Prosperity Party doing to ensure lasting and positive peace in Ethiopia?
Peace is a very important part of human life, even as individual. Otherwise, you have peace with yourself, you cannot settle, and you cannot do whatever you like and you can do. When you take this one to the country, it's very important. So the peace issue for Ethiopians is a very important issue, particularly due to the reform and due to different reasons. The conflict were high in Ethiopia for the last 3 to 4 years. But Prosperity Party has been trying its best to bring not only the positive peace, that means solving the problems through negotiation, dialogue, and the debate, so that peace will be present in Ethiopia. So, like there were different attempts from the party or the ruling party, like opening for negotiation, establishing the National Dialogue Commission, and trying to have discussions with different political parties, and calling, and every time the Prime Minister, the regional presidents were calling for peace and negotiation with different groups who are struggling, particularly in armed groups. So the Congress thoroughly discussed about this one, evaluated the processes as well as the activities that attempted taken place. Of course, there were some successes that identified in the Congress, like for example, the achievements in Benishangul region, the achievements in Gambela region, as well as the some achievements in Oromia in very recent months. Some part of the armed groups were negotiated with the Oromia regional state. So these were considered as the best example. And negotiation should continue for the sake of stability of the country. And the Congress already put the direction for the negotiation, as well as for law enforcement. Both has to be balanced. If there are groups who want to negotiate, the negotiation is already there. But if there are some group who does not need to negotiate, the law enforcement should continue. So the positive peace building is very important agenda in the Congress, and the Congress also put one of the resolution of the Congress that, at the end of the meeting. So the positive peace should be implemented in Ethiopia.
Dear viewers, you are watching OBN Horn of Africa, our weekly program Future Africa. Stay tuned. My other question is, Doctor, from your observation, what opportunities and challenges the party will face in the future?
The opportunities are so many. One, the opportunities that the Ethiopian citizens are opportunity for this party, because Ethiopians need change, Ethiopians need prosperity, Ethiopians need economic development, social and political. Ethiopians need equality and equity, democracy. So this is a great opportunity. Secondly, the opportunity of this party is this party has a very clear policy and a program, homegrown economy, synergy, what we call Madamar. It has clear idea about economic policy, about political inclusiveness. And the third opportunity is that this party is a very huge party, having 15.7 million members. It's an opportunity, by the way. So this is a very huge membership. And the fourth opportunity is this party has experienced it. It has experience. It has experienced the leaders. 5 years experience is not a simple thing. And of course, it has showed that it can implement. Like, it is changing the culture of implementation, project implementation. So much achievements. All these are opportunities, by the way, and the other opportunities you can mention. Internal conflicts are still remain challenge, and otherwise solved in any way. The second one is the political culture of this country. The political culture of elites, the political culture of political parties. The culture is not through discussion and the dialogue, rather through fighting each other. So the culture itself, the political culture itself is a challenge. The third challenge I consider is that the international dynamism, the international reality nowadays, the international dynamic, it's very dynamic. You don't know in which direction the international community is moving. Like, what is happening in America nowadays, what Trump is doing, you don't know. So that also challenges this party or the country as. So these are the three big challenges I consider.
What will the party expect from all Ethiopians at home and abroad in the future?
The achievement of the party depends on how society accepts the party's program as well as its strategy. In the past 5 years, we saw a very important support and commitment from the citizen, by the way. Even in the very conflict and the problem, the expectation of the Ethiopian citizen is very high. Therefore, the support from the citizen was very high. Like in whatever mobilization the party calls for the people, the citizens were participating in different ways. Still, the party demanded such kind of participation and support. Of course, if there are challenges, if there are misbehaviors, if there are some mistakes, the citizen should correct through participation. So, both in domestic as well as abroad, there should be dialogue, by the way. It's not blind support that I'm calling for. There should be dialogue, critics, positive critics, and even if they have better idea, they have to bring their idea into the table and discuss. But they have to work for the betterment of the country. So the support of the citizen is very important. That is why I think the party itself has called for the support during the summary of this conference.
Dr. Geremew Huluka, President of Oromia State University, thank you for your insights and your precious time.
Thank you to have me.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, this is the end of our discussion with Dr. Geremew Huluka, President of Oromia State University, about Prosperity Party, and it is the second congress that it has held recently. Thank you for watching this program and stay connected with other programs of OBN Horn of Africa.